look, I know that it's going to be a long time before this whole WWE new era truly shows its face. We don't know in which direction it's going ahead, but if I am basing it on the latest episode of SmackDown, well, it gets 2 thumbs up from me. I had a really good time. And that isn't saying much because recently the blue brand has been decent anyway. I don't care, man. I'm a happy chap. I'm a positive Pete. And that's why I'm going to wave my hands in the air and hope this is the start of a new dawn. My name is Simon Miller. This is WhatCulture Wrestling. You are indeed watching Ups and Downs for SmackDown. So let's up those downs. Right, take that and throw it all out the window because it's a down straight away as we did begin in the locker room backstage with Shane McMahon talking to the entire SmackDown roster. And do you know what they did when Shane O'Mac mentioned Raw? They all booed like they're 12-year-old children. That is the type of stuff we need to get away from. It feels all fake and all stupid and like I'm being insulted. Down. He was reiterating everything that was said on Monday and telling the wrestlers they've got to go out there and put on the best product they can for us, the fans. And I had one of my moments when I realized how stupid that sounds, because if you weren't familiar with the WWE product, it's as if it took till December 2018 for those in charge to understand they should be trying to entertain the audience. But forget about that. As I said, I'm staying positive. Also turned out that Paige is no longer the GM because of all these shifts, but she will be getting a new role. And up for Becky Lynch though, because of course. Becky said she doesn't care about all the corporate BS going on backstage, and the only thing she wants from the McMahons is to have a match with Ronda Rousey. Also continued to call the Raw Women's Champ Ronnie throughout this segment, and it put a smile on my face. It was just funny. It just was. She is really pissed because Rousey made her lose her title, which is true, and somebody else who was also pissed was Charlotte Flair, so she came out to join the shebang. Flair wanted Lynch to get behind her because she too wanted the exact same thing, the chance to get her revenge against Ronda Rousey. Everybody gunning for Ronda Rousey at the start of SmackDown. They started to bicker even though a few weeks ago they hugged, but don't worry about that because we're starting afresh, so just throw it out of your mind. And then Charlotte told us if it wasn't for Ronda, she'd now be an 8-time women's champion. Now Charlotte, don't tell us that, because 1, it means you lost the belt loads of times, and 2, it also makes it sound like WWE just throws the title around without thinking about it. That's not cool. Spit apple. Asuka soon arrived too to put over the fact that she was now the SmackDown Women's Champion, and when the crowd were chanting her name, she did a little wiggle, and it really made me chuckle. I mean, she's really weird in the best possible way. Like, I can completely imagine if you're flicking channels and you see Asuka on your TV screen, you'll probably hang around for a while because she just got something crazy about her. Becky and Charlotte then claimed that the Empress never actually beat them, but that ain't true. I mean, that ain't true at all. You all signed up for the TLC match. You knew what the TLC rules were, so she absolutely did beat you in that environment. Idiots. Then, because we're living in nuts times, Vince McMahon's music hit, and he actually did appear on Tuesday nights. And when was the last time we saw Vinnie Mac on SmackDown? I don't even know. He got another mega pop because let's face it, we all love him in spite of everything else that may be going on behind the scenes. And he got in Charlotte's face, he got in Becky's face and said, look, you've got to deal with it. Also, Asuka, right now, you are going to have a title match against this lady. Naomi came out. And you can call me whatever you want for this, but I liked it. It was fun, it was exciting, it just had something special about it. That's why it gets an up. There's the finger of magic. For some reason, David Otunga is also back on commentary, and that upset me because I like Byron Saxton. That's right, I'm that guy. But as for this title match, it's getting an up too. The highlight was when Asuka just yelled at Becky and Charlotte, who were sitting at ringside from the top rope, and there was plenty of near falls here, especially one after Naomi smashed the champion with her ass. Don't know how else to describe that other than saying I am referencing the rear view. But that's what the move is. Takes her ass and smashes it into somebody else. Asuka was never going to lose because that would have been absolutely crazy and eventually tapped out her foe thanks to the Asuka lock, and this was just a bunch of characters that I genuinely care about. Made me happy. We then also found out that the main event of the evening was going to be AJ Styles and Mustafa Ali, who apparently is now an official member of the SmackDown roster, taking on Daniel Bryan and the returning Andrade, Cien, Almas. You damn right give that to me, put it in my face. Up. You ain't gonna believe this either, but we then got another segment with Vince. So I can only assume he's actually back on TV regularly, unless it was just for this week. But there was an office, and the office said McMahon Office on it. I don't know, you tell me. It was with The Miz. Can't help myself, liked it. Up. Quick aside that we want to make sure that we balance that so that problems of the old don't rear their head again, but on this night, it did okay. The Miz knocked on the door. He said that he wanted Vince to help him try and team up with Shane McMahon. He wanted his blessing. McMahon said he doesn't give blessings, but he will give The Miz an opportunity. So if he wins his tag team match later with a mystery opponent, maybe he can start teaming with the best in the world, Shane O'Mac. Rusev was on next, and man, I've missed him. I don't really know what I mean by that, but I kind of have a feeling that this new regime, this new era, is actually going to light a fire under Ruru. Well, that's just me being biased, and that's what I'm hoping he does get here. And again, you can tell he's being scripted, and WWE, we need to do away with that. The man can talk, but it still rocked. Get enough. Basically, he's going to come after Nakamura, who he now thinks looks like Sonic the Hedgehog, and he's not wrong, and he's going to win the US title in the process. Maybe that's going to happen soon. Who knows? Another up too, because the Jeff Hardy-Samoa Joe feud has been good, regardless what else has been going on. Up. Nothing special really, but it's Samoa Joe. He just makes you believe every little thing that he does. And Jeff Hardy came out here and said he had heard word on the street that Samoa Joe was going to apologize to him, but he didn't quite believe it. And he was right, because when Joe did enter the arena, he said this wasn't an apology, it's an intervention, because there's no way that Jeff Hardy was going to stay away from his past demons. Hardy then made a pretty good jab that he thinks the problem lies with Samoa Joe, because he's been on the roster for 2 years, and he's never won a championship. You could see in Joe's face that it really pissed him off, so he started to beat him up. Jeff got the upper hand before long and sent the heel packing, and it was like every single segment you've ever seen that follows these rules. Well, I don't care. It still worked. It was still good to continue the program. And also, when Samoa Joe heard that line about him not being a champion, he looked like he'd been shot in the knee. He sold it like it actually meant something. And can you believe it? As somebody watching on the TV, I went, oh, I guess that was actually too close to home. The feud continues. Well done, chaps. It was Miz's mystery tag team partner next, and as it turned out, it was going to be Mandy Rose, because they were going to take on the team of the Fabulous Truth. And that also worked because our Truth man, he has just found his, I don't know, his mojo, his momentum again, because when he was on the microphone, he said to Miz, I look forward to taking you and Maurice on. He delivered it so damn well, it's getting up. Talked about being number 30 in their respective Royal Rumbles and how they're going to take a trip soon to WWE HQ. Unfortunately, none of that helped them here. After Carmella and Mandy Rose had started scrapping outside, The Miz used that to sneak up on our Truth, giving the skull-crushing finale 1, 2, 3. So I guess now next week, we're going to find out what's going down with Shane and The Miz to see who is the best in the world. Or I guess if they come together, they just are the best in the world. And maybe they'll amalgamate into one being and become Shane Miz. That's the worst thing I've ever said. Let's talk about something else. A down for the commentary nonsense that followed though. Todd Phillips looked at me right in the eye and said, oh, I can feel and I can see all the new changes happening in front of my eyes. Don't sell it that way. Let me feel it. Let me see it. I'm the fan. You told me I was in charge. I was the authority. Don't ram it down my throat. Basically, don't overdo because it's horrible, and we also got reminded that all those NXT guys are coming up to either Raw or SmackDown. That's Lars Sutherland, EC3, Heavy Machinery, Nikki Cross, and Lacey Evans. It could be alright. It could be good. Let's just wait and see. It is an up-heavy edition of SmackDown, but what do you want me to do? A lot of the things we have been asking for are now coming to fruition, and I always say credit where credit is due. So when we did enter Tag Team Division land, get them out. It began with the Usos rightfully pointing out that actually at TLC they were never pinned, so they deserve another shot at the tag team titles. That's not what they got, because Gallows and Anderson arrived and pointed out a few facts. Channeling my own thoughts over the last few months, they agreed that the tag team division on SmackDown has become crazy because all we ever see is the New Day, Jay and Jimmy, and The Bar, and they want in, especially because they haven't been seen on TV since August. The Usos told them to step up or turn around, and Gallows and Anderson only had one answer for that, and the match was really good, especially when at one point Jay was going to do a dive over the ropes, and Anderson just kicked him straight in the face. It looked absolutely brutal. It even ended with intrigue. Now, nobody won, and usually that's cause for concern, but at least we had Sanity re-enter the SmackDown sphere, because even though The Bar had interrupted, they didn't even get to the ring before Sanity jumped everybody else and started laying into them. Finally, they're back on TV, and finally, they're actually going to have something to do. They did just walk past The Bar, so Sheamus and Cesaro was like, all right, well, we got some dead bones in the ring. Let's go beat them up too. And that's what they did. World Tag Team Champions just went in there and were massive heels. And they are heels, kinda. Now this was a bit 180, but who cares? Sanity needed something. They needed anything. And if this is what we have to do, just go, oh, look, ha ha, they're back. I will absolutely take it. Change, people. Change! That's what it's all about. Shinsuke Nakamura then responded to Rusev and said that he's not scared of him because he'd already seen him on Total Divas running around naked, and he even showed a clip. What do you want from me? Got me. Up. We get our first golden up this week if we do agree that TLC happened last week, because Daniel Bryan, the world champ, came out to cut another promo, and damn, it was good. It made me feel all spicy. Golden up. He continued on his journey to prove that human beings are killing planet Earth, but he comes across like such an asshole, it 100% worked. He's absolutely proved me wrong, and I'm happy that he has. It was a bit stupid that when he dropped the stat that Fresno, which is where this show was happening, had the worst pollution rate of all California, that the fans started chanting, yes. I mean, come on, dudes, we shouldn't be doing that. That is ridiculous, but look, all of this came together. Daniel Bryan kicking ass. Bryan went on to say the Yes movement is dead, that he has destroyed the house that AJ Styles has built, and much like the Raw regime, more change is coming. Brilliantness, absolutely brilliant. And one final up on, yes, what has been a ludicrously up heavy of SmackDown for the main event. It was AJ Styles, it was Andrade, Cien, Almas, it was Daniel Bryan, it was Mustafa Ali. Who in their right mind would ever give that a down? Nobody. That's why it gets it up. I'm just happy that it seems like Mustafa Ali is going to have a prominent position on SmackDown, especially here, because he pinned the champion. That's right, he pinned Daniel Bryan. He hit the 054, 1, 2, 3. He went crazy, looked like he won the lottery. This was probably better than the lottery. Maybe he starts a path anew. It was a great match before all of this too, with everyone just flying around the place like they were aeroplanes. Look, I don't know why Andrade Cien Almas has just magically reappeared on SmackDown TV, but I'm not going to question it. I'm just going to enjoy the ride. It's like a roller coaster of fun. I always want to be on a roller coaster of fun, even though in my real life I don't actually like roller coasters, I don't trust them. And look at all the stuff that's happened in the past. Hashtag don't go on roller coasters. There was some fear that Bryan actually may have been hurt by Ali, because if you have seen it, he did land right across his throat when performing his finishing move. But small spoiler, they've already taped next week's episode of SmackDown. Daniel Bryan did come out, so thankfully it seems like he's going to be alright. I tell you though, if this is a sign of things to come, sign me up. And again, I know SmackDown's been good for a while, but this felt even better still. And I know I'm usually a positive guy, even when a lot of other people feel like the cards are down. But when all was said and done and the credits rolled, I felt entertained. That's why I watch wrestling. Just entertain me, just intrigue me, just make me have a reaction. All those boxes were ticked. SmackDown. What a good show. Now, don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know what you thought about last night's episode of SmackDown. Like, share, and subscribe. Head over to WhatCulture.com, read yourself some articles. Then over to Twitter, follow WhatCulture at WhatCulture WWE. And you're already here, you're on YouTube. Let's go and watch more videos right now on WhatCulture Wrestling. My name is Simon from WhatCulture. Thank you very much for joining me. And again, for everybody that's asking, I know that Raw and SmackDown ups and down scheduling days are on Christmas Day and Boxing Day, but the train never stops. So I will see you then. And beforehand, have a happy holiday season. Come on.